Hello, welcome to Not Boring English. Today I tell a story called A Surprise for My Neighbor for level A1-A2. If the speed is too fast, please slow the video with playback settings. The Little Surprise on the Balcony. I live in a small apartment. I like my quiet life. My neighbor lives next door. Her name is Mrs. Kim. She is an old woman. She smiles a little when she sees me. I wanted to do something kind for her. I planned a surprise. One morning I woke early. The sky was soft and pink. I made tea and sat on my small balcony. I watched the street. I saw Mrs. Kim walk slowly with a bag. She looked tired. Her bag had many small items. She fed birds in the park. She smiled at the birds. She did not smile at people. I felt a warm feeling in my chest. I wanted to make her smile for me. I had a small idea. I would bake cookies. I would make a small flower pot. I would leave a note on her door. The note would say, "Hello, I make cookies. Please enjoy. From your neighbor." I felt happy when I thought of the note. I am not a great baker. I can follow a simple recipe. I put flour, sugar, butter, and an egg in a bowl. I mixed with a spoon. The dough was soft and yellow. I added a little vanilla. The kitchen smelled sweet. The smell made me smile. I rolled the dough with my hands. I cut small round cookies. I put them on a tray. While the cookies baked, I made the flower pot. I bought a small blue pot. I planted a little green plant in it. I wrote a small card. I wrote, "For your balcony, from me." My hand moved slowly. I wanted the card to be neat. The oven beeped. I opened the door. The cookies looked golden. They smelled good. I put them on a plate and let them cool. I wrapped some in a small paper bag. I put the flower pot in a paper bag too. I put the note on top. I felt happy and a little nervous. I wanted Mrs. Kim to like the surprise. I walked to her door. My heart beat fast. I held the bags in my hands. I rang her bell. I waited. No sound. I rang again. I listened for footsteps. I thought she was not home. I put the bags on the doormat. I walked back to my door. I hoped she would find the gift. It began to rain. The sky darkened. I looked out and saw water on the street. The rain was heavy. I worried about the bags. I ran outside with an umbrella. My hair got wet. I picked up the bags. The paper was a little wet. The cookies were safe in the bag, but the card got damp. I used a napkin to dry it. I put the gift back on the doormat and left. Later that day, I saw Mrs. Kim at the elevator. She had my paper bag. Her hair was wet a little from the rain. She looked surprised when she saw me. I smiled and said, "Hello." She said, "Oh, hello. Thank you." Her voice was small. I asked, "Did you like the cookies?" She smiled a little. She said, "Yes, they are warm." I ate one. She held the flower pot close. That night I could not sleep. I thought about her small smile. The next morning, I decided to try again. I made a new plan. I would make tea and invite her to my balcony. I would bring a chair and a second cup. I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to know her story. On a sunny morning, I walked to her door. I knocked softly. This time, she opened her door. Her eyes were bright. I said, "Would you like to have tea on my balcony?" She looked surprised. She looked happy. She said, "Yes, thank you." I walked quickly to my apartment. I brewed tea and set 2 cups on a small table. I put the blue flower pot in the middle. I carried the cups to the balcony. The air was cool. The city had a soft sound. I heard birds and far voices. I saw her on the balcony. She sat in the chair like a small bird on a branch. We drank the tea slowly. I talked about simple things. I told her I liked the flowers on her balcony. She laughed. She said, "I like small things." I asked, "Do you like music?" She said, "Yes. I played the piano when I was young." I felt a new light in her eyes. Her hands moved when she spoke. She told a small story about her daughter. Her daughter lived in another city. She visited sometimes. The story made me quiet. I listened. We talked for an hour. I learned about her life. She lived in the building for many years. She watched the seasons and the people. She saved small notes. She liked simple food. She liked to feed birds. She had a gentle way to speak. I felt calm and happy. After tea, she stood and said, "Thank you for coming." I said, "I am glad." She touched the flower pot with her fingers. She said, "This plant will remind me of you." I felt warmth like sunlight on my face. Days passed. We saw each other more. I would bring a small pastry. She would bring a cup of coffee sometimes. We shared stories. I learned to say a few phrases in her language. She laughed when I said them wrong. We laughed together. One day, I saw Mrs. Kim sit on her balcony and cry. Her eyes were wet. I walked to her and sat beside her. I held her hand. I said, "It's okay." She looked at me and said, "I miss my husband. He died last year." My heart stopped for a moment. I felt sad. I wanted to do more. I wanted to help her feel less alone. I thought of a small plan. I would make a memory box. I asked her if she liked the idea. She nodded. She smiled softly. I found a small wooden box at a shop. I painted the box with pastel colors. I put a ribbon around it. I put a small note inside that said, "You are not alone." I also put a small photo of the garden in my hometown. I placed a tiny paper crane, too. It was simple. It was small. I gave the box to her on a quiet afternoon. She opened it slowly. Her eyes moved over each small thing. She held the photo and the crane. She looked up and she hugged me. It was a soft hug. It lasted a few seconds. I felt her heart beat near mine. After that hug, something changed. She smiled more. She left her door open sometimes. She shared tea with other neighbors. People noticed her smile. The building felt friendlier. I felt happy. The small acts of kindness had a big result. One evening, we sat on the balcony and watched the sunset. The sky was orange and pink. We held our cups. I thought about the first day I made cookies. I thought about the rain and the damp card. I thought about the little box and the hug. I thought about the many small moments that became a friendship. I learned something simple and true. A small surprise can change a day. A kind action can make a new friend. You do not need money or fame. You need time, a warm heart, and small hands to help. I am just a neighbor. I made a small surprise. It made a big difference. The next year, it was spring. The blue flower in the pot had grown. It had small white flowers. Mrs. Kim gave me a small cake on my birthday. She smiled widely. I felt that my small acts came back to me. I felt loved. The story ends with me and Mrs. Kim on the balcony. We sip tea and watch the birds. We do small things for each other. The surprise brought us together. It was simple. It was warm. It was true. Comprehension. Questions now. I will ask a few questions about the story to check your understanding. Please write your answers in the comments to practice writing in English. 1. What did I bake for Mrs. Kim as a surprise? 2. Why was Mrs. Kim sad sometimes? 3. What did I make later to help Mrs. Kim remember good things? Thank you for listening to the story on Not Boring English. What small surprise would you make for your neighbor? Please write your answer in the comments and subscribe for more simple stories.